In this video, we're going to go over some of the fights I've been in, injuries from the fight, seizures, how I handled things, because I was talking out loud and then something interesting came to my mind. I've never really been that hurt in a fight. The injuries that I've acquired in my entire life, the worst injuries I've ever got from a fight, broken tooth, a couple stitches, and oh, and I went unconscious, but most of the time that's just due to a previous injury. I mean, it's just like the slightest tap to the head and I go out sometimes. So that's actually not really due to the fight, but it is occurring. So something like that. That's about it. But during my seizures, I get fractured skulls. I go unconscious. I get lots of stitches. I'm all swollen up. My face looks like Frankenstein. My whole body is all bloody. All my bones are all hurt and bruised on the bone. Everything. I can't even walk sometimes. It takes me weeks and months sometimes to talk and walk again. During the seizures, I've also got way more stitches, way more injuries. I even got gravel under my skin. Yes, during my seizure, I thrashed, I guess, so bad that gravel went under my skin, but I wasn't awake or conscious for it. I've also, and the worst part about it is when there's a fight, I get medical care for it. When I have a seizure or a fall from my neurological condition, they do nothing but release me. So if I have an OD or use drugs or get into a fight, I get medical care. But if I have a fall, a seizure, and I'm sober, they just write down found unconscious, possible drugs, no drugs found in system, no drugs found in urine, no drugs found in hair, released after arrival, no symptoms found, or some bullshit like that as I'm screaming to look into me. Please keep me. I want to know what's wrong. Why did this happen? I feel better now that I'm warm, but what happened to me? I was walking down the street cold. I started shivering and I fell to the ground and seized. What's going on to me? Well, we don't know. Well, just nothing probably. Just okay, see you later. Bye bye. So we got a lot of that shit. So when it's compared, even though fighting, normally people, that's the worst injuries they get is like car accidents, fighting, something like that. The car accident I had did way less damage than the seizure or the falls. It fucked up my right arm until my right arm was a little bit in a cast from a sprain. But that's the car accident. I've had at least 5 injuries from my neurological disorder outside that were life threatening. I've even had a car run over my hair after a seizure on the side of 108. And some of these people want to run me over too. Yes, I'm reporting a septic tank and I'm trying to keep other people safe. There's a septic tank leaching into the groundwater and it's going into a new apartment buildings that were just built. And the Rochester in New Hampshire and the landlord have done everything in their power to try to cover it up. This building is very obviously not up to code. You got waterfalls coming in the apartment when it rains, so they're letting gallons of water go down the walls, growing mold, just like a mold factory. You can see a 20-foot by 5-foot mold growth on the outside of the building, and all the windows have holes in them. And well, 3 of them big enough where you can see and stick your hand out and stuff. Now I've tried to fill these up, but it doesn't stop the gallons of water from growing mold in the apartment. There's also buried septic tanks, and the landlord pays people under the table to be goons for him. He will have them intimidate witnesses. They'll have them try to run people over. They will have them try to assault old people and need to get restraining orders. All different types of intimidation tactics. He'll even pay them to lie in court. So that's mafia type stuff. That's somebody who's trying to kind of run things like a mafia boss. And I can't believe that Rochester has just allowed this stuff, but they're poor. COVID hit. So what are they supposed to do about a bunch of illegal activity? What are they supposed to do about a landlord dumping septic tanks leaking into the groundwater into Maine? Fuck, who cares? It's Maine. Fuck, when it rains, it leaches into Maine. Who cares? Is what Rochester says. No matter how many times I report that septic tank, take pictures of that septic tank, take pictures of the apartment. And whenever I leave Rochester, everybody goes, have you reported that to Rochester? That's illegal. You need to report that. You need to report that. I said, I have like 20 times. No, they should be doing something. They have to do something. Yeah, but they're disappearing the reports from all 3 neighbors. There's been at least 14 different people that have lived in these 3 apartments in the last 15 years since this has been going on. And they all have brought reports to Rochester at one point or another. But yet, the landlord just lied in court saying he's got no complaints or reports in writing from anybody about these issues, even though we know a lady downstairs gave him writing. We know upstairs has reported their gaping hole in waterfalls and bed bugs and things like that. So, yes, he has got reports several times. So that's just a blatant lie. And he's lying straight up to the judge, and the judge is smiling and allowing it. Meanwhile, he doesn't even want to look at videos or pictures, even though they speak for themselves. He doesn't have to listen to me. Why don't you listen to the videos and pictures? Doesn't that make it easier? Instead of he said, you said, he said, he said, shouldn't you just look at what we're talking about? But no, Rochester doesn't want to fix this. They want us to disappear, and that's why we get death threats. If I disappear soon, just look for me in the septic tank in the back, because they've wrote death threats online to my roommate about burying him in the septic tank in the back. So I'm guessing that if they were going to off me to make sure these reports stop, what they've already tried to do, they're following me, they've tried to run me off the road. So if they try to kill me and bury me in the septic tank, that's where I am. I'm in the septic tank at 314 Rochester Hill Road, Rochester, New Hampshire. I'm right in the septic tank in the back wood line. They just threw me in the hole, and my dead body's floating in a bunch of shit in the back of the building. So if I go missing, if you don't hear from me online, or anything, because that is probably a very real case. They've already tried to run us off the road. They've already hit us. They've already tried to hit an 84-year-old. There's already been restraining orders. There's already been assaults caught on camera. There's already been hate crimes. There's already been hospital visits from illnesses. There's already been all different types of ceiling tiles falling on our heads, all different types of stuff. And we're reporting it. And Rochester doesn't want to do anything about it because that costs money. And the landlord, he definitely wants this all to just go away. So if he can lie it away, he's trying to. He's doing his best. But these are blatant lies that the judge can easily just look at and be like, well, just like the one where he tried to lie to that he gave me a piece of paper that morning and mislead the judge. Once when he knew it wasn't this morning, it was just now, just this minute as you left the room, he was like, oh, just now, that doesn't count. If he means this morning before court started, that counts. But if he just handed you, then that doesn't count to be missed today. And so that's what he was trying to do, and he almost fooled the judge with that one, but luckily I refused to take it until the judge was in the room, and then he just lied and was like, I tried to give this to him this morning. And then the judge looked at me, and I told him, you can ask your guard right there. He just handed it to me 1 minute ago. And he's like, what? I thought it was, oh, that is this morning. Yep. Well, that's misleading us. Yep. He's misleading, but that's not even all. That's just misleading. At least he was telling the truth that time. There's blatant lies. He also has blatant, very easy to see through lies that everybody can easily, I mean, some of them, I'm sure the judge already knows are lies, but it's much easier to try to fuck us. He's not going to try to prevent people from continuing to get sick. I mean, we weren't the first, we won't be the last. There was a child getting sick in this apartment before us. A child. There's an old man on an oxygen tank before us. There is children getting sick upstairs for visiting. And they're never going to know why they have asthma. Because it's asthma. They get diagnosed with asthma, start coughing when they move in here. They never have these problems. They come in here, all of a sudden it's heart difficulties, they feel weak, they're vomiting, they feel tired, all the symptoms of extreme black mold exposure. And there's so much more going on for health hazards, as well as don't forget the little mafia getting paid under the table. If you try to report any code violations, you're going to have a little mafia people running you off the road, coming to your apartment, assaulting you, and don't forget the false reports. One of their favorite things to do is just to try to make up stories about you. That's one that I've heard a lot of times.